Hello and welcome back to the U Up podcast. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. It is so good to be back here with you, Jordana, but it is especially good because we are starting a Wednesday show, which we don't usually do, with a very special guest. Dr. Naomi is here.
Very special.
Hello, guys.
Welcome. Good to see you.
Fun.
It's so good to have you back with us and back in the studio. I don't think you've ever recorded with us in the studio, have you? And we also have another special guest in the studio. We have Naomi's husband, my brother-in-law, Jeff. Hello.
Jeff, off camera.
Off camera.
Looking cute.
Excited to be here.
You guys are here on like a New York City trip. What's the occasion?
Yeah, so we're here for like 11 days.
11 days?
Yeah.
What are you
They're
gonna
from
do?
here.
Even so, 11 days. I want to be.
Yeah,
that's checking a bag
yes,
territory.
Yeah, you know what's so funny? I actually did check a bag, and when I was packing, I'm like, throw it all in.
Right. If we're checking the
take
if we're
it all.
doing
We
this,
got all the space. So yeah, we're Long Island, a little bit Westchester, our longest time in the city, which is
what
great.
was the reason? Was there one thing that was coming up that you were like, okay, now we'll plan all the rest of the things?
Well, we've been doing this week for some reason every year, pretty much, and our two oldest took a long trip, so they're away in London.
In London?
Yes.
These kids got passports? They got
Lizzie
McGuire?
riding on the motorcycle.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Good for them. This is great.
Yeah.
Just the two of them. They're 11.
Just, got the berets on in Europe.
So while they're gone, we're hanging out until they get back.
Oh, this is great. And this is fantastic.
And now you've got your little day alone.
This is our
Just the
one
two of
day,
us.
and we are sharing it with you guys.
Wow.
And we were late on
We are
your one
honored.
day to be together.
Do you feel any stage fright now that Jeff's watching?
No, not really.
No fear of judgment.
No, he's good.
He accepts you.
He
Yeah,
accepts me.
yeah.
We're good.
So
I'm excited. I feel like you two are such a thing, and I get to just like look at you. And,
We're on display.
Yeah.
To see
It's
the
more about
magic happen.
well, it's
Yes.
funny because Jared is an oversharing listener, so
Yes.
it feels like I have the conversations with you and then I rehab them with Jared after you listen to the episodes.
Yes, you guys are oversharing. I love listening to the show. It is calming. It's a great Tuesday listen.
Oh, good.
But you're just talking about you have your your two, just the two of you days, and you how long have you been married now?
15 years.
15 years.
15 years.
And I have to say, and I've been around a lot of couples, you guys seem like you were really happy together.
Yeah. Oh,
Which you don't always get. It feels like you're like really in love. It's kind of impressive.
Well, you know what I'll say?
I'm always wondering, like, are they faking it? They
No.
seem really into each other.
Not because he's here, but
Sure.
I will. I will say he really started the whole like, if we don't have a date night, that was him. That was like, if we don't have a date night, I'm not going to be okay. Like this isn't going to work. I mean,
So what's a date night?
He gave you a date night ultimatum.
Yes.
Was this during dating? Was this during
no, this was
marriage?
after
the
kids
come?
kind of after kids. It was like if we don't have alone time together, usually it's like I think the woman's more like, and it's not sexual. I mean, I'm sure it's sort of sexual, but like mostly just like we need alone time, and he's the one that's like really putting that, making like that's
making
got
it
to
a
go on the
priority.
calendar.
Is that advice for couples out there? Would you say that that's like, if you could like describe one actionable,
totally
like have it in the calendar? We're doing this on this, even if they're just dating or they're a year in. Like, do you think that would help a relationship?
Yeah, because otherwise you're doing whatever you're doing, and then even if you're just dating, you're doing whatever you're doing. You're doing laundry, you're doing whatever you're doing, and you're cleaning the kitchen. You're not like sitting across from somebody. And what we are doing right now is just spending time together.
And there is something sexy to like getting dressed
up
for the occasion. Like even if you're doing it in the same house, you're on your own roads doing, and then you get together.
Yeah,
and
it's like the big reveal.
Begin.
You get dressed, I get dressed, and then like, all right,
Right.
here I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta get. That is something too about the date night.
Just
You're getting out of your
for it.
pajamas, and you're getting yourself together a little
It's
bit.
with intention.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you guys just always seem like you're really big fans of each other.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that's I feel like you get a little, because I think the longer you're married or you're with someone, you can become a little friendly, and you make fun of each other, or you like whatever, or I don't know, like pick at each other. You guys don't really do that.
We never.
You don't
we
do
never
that.
had a a make fun of each
sibling?
other. No,
it's
not
never
a
gone the
sibling
way
vibe.
of siblings.
No.
She's like, I have enough siblings.
Right.
Do not
No.
need another one.
How did you meet?
We met at a club in Miami. Like
A club
like
in
a
Miami?
legit
Jeff,
club.
holy shit.
Yeah.
Just going up to... Did
No,
Jeff
I picked him up.
You picked him up?
Wow.
Yeah.
So hold on. What's the club? Set the scene.
So it's I like talking about this actually.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. What are you doing in Miami?
I was in school in graduate school
Okay.
in Florida, and one of my classmates she was getting married. It was her bachelorette party. So
We go to Miami.
we go to Miami. We're at the club hanging out.
Sandstorm's playing.
This might be pre-Sandstorm.
You know
it
what was
pre-Sandstorm?
playing?
What year is
the
this?
Akon song?
Waiting for tonight.
What year is this?
No, this was
2006?
2006.
This is not Jam of 2006.
No, the raunchy Akon back that
Back that ass up?
Yeah.
This is like the episode of Friends where they're all wearing the clothes from way back then, and
Yes.
they're like, I'm having this flashback. Wait, so Back That Ass Up is playing.
Playing, yes.
And okay.
Smack That by Akon.
Oh, okay.
Smack
Smack
that.
that.
Yeah.
Smack that. Okay.
Yeah.
Smack that. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Smack that.
You're really. I feel like I'm really
You're there.
in the mood. Yeah.
Someone put the lights on and off.
Yes.
Okay, so Smack
So that's the
That by.
song. He's wearing one of those Miami white shirts with the design on it, like it's like flashy.
Okay. So Jeff's in his famous date night Komodo dragon white linen shirt. Okay.
going all out. Yeah.
And he's got a table with some drinks. With some
Table.
friends.
Jeff's
yeah.
a table guy. Okay.
We've got a table.
We are
Wow.
painting a portrait of Jeff. So Jeff's
So
at
you
the
were
table.
like, I'm not paying for drinks.
Right.
Yes.
And he's standing at the table just pointing at women. Come here. Like, is it like one of
No,
those?
he was just chilling.
Okay.
And, I walked up and I said, and I hedged my bet. So
It really is like that song, trying to find the words to describe this girl without being disrespectful.
Is that
Akon?
right?
Is that Akon? Yes. Wow.
And I said,
It's playing in my head and I can't like say it. I'm like trying. Yeah.
It was a moment. And I said, does anybody over here dance? I was talking to
Wait
the
a minute.
whole group.
Wow.
So, like, you're in the Roman Colosseum. Does anyone here want a piece of the big shot?
She pulled her shirt down.
Step up, bitches!
Yeah, I had curly hair too. I was rocking the
Pre-Mid Naomi's here.
yeah. Yeah. So and the rest was kind
And
So
Jeff out of the crowd.
was there an awkward
Jeff
silence?
walks
no,
up.
he jumped right up as
He takes
he
off
should've.
his fedora, throws it onto the couch. I can smack that. Is that what happened?
Yeah, and then we dance, and then so we're talking, and he said, turns out he's from Long Island, I'm from Long Island, but we're in Miami.
Right.
So I was
Meant
like,
to be.
meant to be. It was right before Thanksgiving. I was going home, so I said, we should get together and.
So Jeff comes up to dance with you, and you're like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "I'm touring the hockey stadiums of Florida."
Basically,
And
yeah.
you were like, "Let's go on a date."
Yeah, I
were
mean,
like, he has an
look at that
interest.
face. Look at
Listen,
those.
I have no doubt. I'm just saying
Yeah.
it is funny in the era of the
So-
ick of people being like, picky about maybe
Right.
who they're seeing. It's like, well, he's here on a hockey trip with his buddies. Like, I don't know. There's more trust
This is like
back then.
pre-social media, really. This is
Yeah,
what,
no,
like,
this was like, what was that other thing?
MySpace?
Yes, MySpace.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was this topic I wanted to get into today about like being in different locations, setting your location to a different location.
Okay.
So this is kind of on the topic.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been having issues with hood fishing.
Which is hood fishing is like when you pretend you live in a city that you don't on your dating app.
Yeah,
So
that's sketch.
on your dating app, you can say Manhattan, and then you start talking to someone, and then they're like, "Well, I'm actually from Mineola,
Right.
Long Island,"
Right.
and you're like, "Well, this is different.
Yes.
We wouldn't have started talking if
Yes.
it wasn't for this." But when I'm noticing is women are doing it to like actually date. Like men do it to fuck,
right?
Which to me is a more noble cause. Like I actually,
how is that more noble?
I don't know. To me, it's like
women are like, I'll make it work if you like marry me. Like I'll move to the city.
One is left monumental of a mountain to climb. I mean, you know, go down on each other. We never speak again. Fine. Right. You know, like the other is like, I'm going to be the reason you move here.
But really, you're talking Mineola to Manhattan for love. That doesn't seem that crazy.
Love? What's the first date? This is actually this is the argument I was kind of having with myself of like, who are you to think you're? Well, I think if you were honest off the bat, if it like that's a different story than changing the location.
But you wouldn't swipe on them if they were honest off the bat.
Right.
They wouldn't find you. You wouldn't
but the
be in
swipe is different. The swipe is for first date casual drinks. Let's get to know each other. To me, if someone's traveling on a train, their energy is different. I'm asking for something different than someone who lives on the Upper East that's going to be going after work or something.
I think so. You're almost more concerned with like the amount of effort they're putting in, given the fact that you probably won't like them.
Right. I mean, 9 out of 10
that's
don't
your
work
concern.
out.
Well, that's your concern is like if they came all the way to the city for me to dump them.
Right. Dating is already like a low percentage game. So I think with dating apps, and this is why like I think it's interesting the story about meeting, you know, in Miami. Okay, we'll meet when we're back. It's not like, did you exchange? Were you texting?
Yeah, we were texting.
You're texting?
T9. Yeah.
They still had that?
No, but like 1, 2, 3, C.
Right.
Yeah, that's what.
It is funny that you have to explain T9 to some of the listeners. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they probably don't know what that is. Yeah.
But I'm saying like, it's almost like you're allowing yourself to be floating down the river with the current in the scenario you're bringing up.
Yeah,
like in my
such
scenario,
a romantic.
I'm like,
I was open to whoever I fell in love with.
Well, I guess anyone who stepped up at that table who wants to dance. Jeff comes forward. And so Jeff, when you're like texting with this woman you met in the club, are you like, we'll go out when we're back?
I mean, initially I tried to get her to come back with me, like
right.
the other red-blooded male. But
I wasn't going to bring this up.
Yeah.
So
not having that.
Not having
that.
So at the club, you go
separate ways.
Good luck. Here's my number. Goodbye.
How much had you had to drink?
Not a lot. I drove from Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, you drove?
Yeah.
On a bachelorette party?
Yeah.
Loser. Sorry.
I'm happy other people are saying and asking the things that I want to ask.
I'm not the biggest. My body doesn't handle alcohol well.
That's a fun person on the bachelorette party. I don't really. My body doesn't handle it.
I'll drive.
Cool.
Yeah.
I guess
It's kind of
the rest of us will be party animals and get judged by the driver.
I mean, who's the one who found the husband that night?
Right. Well,
I guess joke's on them.
That's true. They're all wandering those streets.
Thank you.
Aunt Elizabeth or whatever.
I think that's a good, actually, like almost. I think that's not an unimportant fact.
The not drinking.
Yes, because I think a lot of the times you do drink a lot, and let's say she did go back with you, even if you kind of liked her. But would there been a part of you that was like a little less intrigued?
Oh, for sure.
Ooh,
for sure.
Right. Truth comes out.
Right.
It wouldn't have been as like compelling to me.
Well,
we had the connection, and then she went away.
Mm-hmm. So you're like, I got to figure out what that was.
It just was like, okay, I get it. I respect that. But it wasn't even coming from a conniving thing. It was just like,
no.
I was like super, there was a lot of chemistry, and I was just like, when there's a lot of chemistry like that, it's like
something we talk
about. There's a build-up.
There's
a build-up.
This is something we talk about in this podcast. Like, I understand that, the allure of chasing. You can't create a chase out of nowhere. You can't like fake a chase. But you guys like to chase standards. You go, okay, that was the standard. I tried a little bit of the, I tried the flavor at the TCBY. I want a kitty cone. And, but I can't get it unless I fly back to New York and go back. There's cost to this.
Right.
You got the free taste on the dance floor. You got to smack that.
Yeah.
No, but it is something to like, I think for the listeners, mostly female audience of this show, you hear like, it's like, you can go back if you want to, if that's really you. But the way you're saying, you're like, that's not an option. I said who wants to dance, and I danced.
Right, she had to drive everyone home.
Right. It's got to take that.
That's the best way to control yourself.
The Sprinter van needed to make its way back to Fort Lauderdale. Yeah. No, I think I like hearing. I think this podcast, it's important to hear people's tales.
I agree, because we got the our story version, but then we broke it down a little bit more.
Right.
And you get the real nuance.
Yeah.
I think.
Jeff didn't fuck. He's got to go get that ice cream.
Kids, if you're listening, that's how they met.
The moral of the story: Jeff got to eat.
Yeah. So we brought you on today. We wanted your help answering one of the more serious emails from one of our listeners.
Let's jump right in.
Let's do it. All right. J&J and Dr. Naomi, thanks for all the energy you put into the show. Y'all are the best. Unlike you guys, I'll jump right in. Indeed. JK, I love your intros. I've been seeing my boyfriend for 7 months now. We're both in our 30s and live in Chicago. I told him early on that my dad passed away last year. It came up naturally when we were talking about our families. Since then, I've had a hard time talking to him about my grief, especially as I've come up on milestones like Father's Day and the anniversary of his death. I brought it up on these occasions so that he knows what's going on. Both times, he's responded with only a few words, something like, "Okay, I'm here for you," but then goes silent or avoids the topic. I get the impression that it makes him really uncomfortable when I bring it up. His short responses make me feel like I shouldn't bring it up or like I'm being overindulgent in my feelings. It's hard for me to bring up in the first place, and his discomfort reinforces that I should just keep this to myself. But I want to be able to talk to him about my grief because it's been a big part of my life, especially this last year. I'm working on it with a therapist, so I don't need him to solve things for me, but I would like to feel like I can talk to him about it openly. How should I approach this? Should I try to keep talking about it and see if he opens up? Should I tell him how his responses make me feel? Or should I accept that he's not going to be involved in this part of my life? XOXO, down bad betch. Okay.
What do we think?
All right. Well, number 3 is not an option. The whole accept that he's not going to be a part of this. I don't think that that's a thing.
Enough with the dead dad. It'd be pretty wild.
He's saying, "I'm here for you." What else do you want from him? Like, what is he supposed to do? And I get that it is very uncomfortable. I think the fear for someone on the other side is, if I ask too many questions, if I, say, "Oh, well, what was your dad like?" Then they start talking and they start crying. And now I've made this person cry. And now I've made it worse.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Which is, if you listen to oversharing, you'll know that, like, I'm a big fan of crying. I don't think that makes it worse. I actually think that's like the best thing that could happen.
Giving them an outlet.
Yeah, she cries in front of him. They feel closer. He accepts her. And now he's part of the whole, gives her a hug. And that's great. But I think a lot of people are afraid of that. So they'll just do "I'm here for you if you want, but also okay if you don't."
Right. I think a lot of men would prefer if you gave them like a task.
Yes.
That they could just like do, maybe even away from you. Like,
Yes.
You nailed it.
right.
Because
but they don't, they'd
heard
rather do that than sit and like listen to you cry.
Well, that's the thing. I was like kind of like having. I felt this guy. I felt the need to defend him because I was like listen. I'm sorry about your dad. I'm sorry I did the ghost impression of him. I do think. I was like putting myself in the shoes of this boyfriend. They're 7 months in. They don't really know each other that well. Like, he doesn't know what crying version of her is or what door this opens for her. Maybe not yet. And he's also avoiding doing that, which I don't think is right. Like, obviously, he's just going path of least resistance. But I've been in the position in relationships where you go, this happens all the time. I feel sick. And I'm like, you want to go to the hospital? And that is a very guy. I think guys are fixers. We want to know what the thing is. Like, how do we get, sad dad time over with so we can have fun us time?
Right.
And I think this guy sees no way past sad dad time, because if my dad passed away, I'd be in sad dad time all the time too.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't, if I've never experienced that, I would assume that it's always sad dad time.
Right.
So
You'd prefer to like go pick up the flowers to put on his grave or something.
Right.
Like go give you a task and you're helping in that way.
Right, put on his clothes, do his voice. I don't know, like, what do you need from me is really what I would wonder from his, and this is not to sound, not like empathetic to her problem. I'm just saying, like, she came here with a question. And I was like, the whole time I'm thinking, I wouldn't know what to fucking say either.
Okay, great. So we're going to figure it out. I honestly, I do think that's great advice. And maybe that's on her to say, I know this is an uncomfortable topic. You know, I know that when I've done this in the past, I'm open to answer a question. If you want to ask me a question, anything goes, like ask me, or even honestly, just a hug would be nice. Like if she can give him
tell him what she wants.
Specific, yes.
Right.
If she can tell him what she wants, I think that would be, it feels kind of like the best thing would be if he just knows what she wants.
I guess that's my question. What if she's like totally turned off by the idea that he doesn't even have the capability to figure that out? Because it sounds like he doesn't.
Right. Well, this is part of communication. I think she has to probably tell him, like, I know this is awkward. These are the things that I've helped. I'm sure she has this with friends too, not just him. There's,
Right. When people don't know how to respond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To say, I like sharing stories about him, if that's what she wants, or, just a hug sometimes helps when I'm feeling like this, or, I know it's hard. So I think if she can get, like you said, a task, if she can give him a task, like this is how I want this to be handled, that might be helpful. But no, he's not going to, most people don't know.
I wouldn't know.
It's hard because it's like, it does feel, I can imagine where it feels like if I have to ask you to ask me certain questions, or if I have to ask you to react in a certain way, it doesn't feel as nice as if I'm crying about my dad, and then isn't that the best? You know exactly what to say, or you know exactly what to do. That feels like that's how we all imagine our relationships in our head, is like the other person just knows.
Right. But they are like you said, 7 months in, which isn't that long. And this is maybe when they figured that out, like how to know what to say, what she does want to talk about. I just think any gesture of curiosity, I think he just needs to be a little curious.
Right.
Okay, I'm here for you is not enough.
It's like,
it's almost like let's move on.
Yes.
Right.
So if she could play this for him, like let's say she sat down with him and was like, here's a podcast I wrote in about you. You go in the other room and listen. Like, what are like things you would tell someone to do for someone that's going through grief, as she puts it?
Yeah, I think curiosity. I think him asking her like, how can I be here for you? Is a better question than I'm here for you. And open-ended, right?
Right.
I'm here for you is like, okay, thanks. There's but like, how can I be here for you? And then maybe she could say, I really do, if you're willing to listen, I like to talk about him, or I just want to tell you how I feel, or just, to like we said, to cry and just, have a physical affection, or, but yeah, I think.
Hug me while whispering, good job at soccer practice.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. Act like her dad.
That went over my head.
Right.
Make it weird.
Right.
Yeah, make it really weird.
Yeah.
That's
put on a mustache and call yourself Mr. Wilson. I don't know. Because I would wonder.
No,
I think it's good.
But
Asking questions is good.
Yeah.
I would think. My first instinct wouldn't be to ask questions like, how can I help you through this? What can I do to make I would just be like, we're going to go.
There.
Right. Do you want to go to the hospital?
What I really think what I really think she wants is she probably wants to be sad. This is the hardest part of being in any intimate relationship, is seeing the person that you love sad and like not trying to make it go away, which I still struggle with all the time.
Right.
Like, you're sad, I want to fix it and make it go away. Like, let's go to a movie, let's go to a show, let's change the topic. But the intimacy comes when you're like, you're sad, I'm not going to try to fix it. I'm just going to sit here with you in it and almost like
absorb it with you.
Pull it out,
like
let it breathe, be okay with it being in the room. That's
bathe
the hard
in the sadness.
But together.
Well, sometimes you do that on your own. Like, I've had that in my life where I'm like, I'm almost happy to have no one to go with it.
So I can do this alone.
Let me just like have my sad night. My sad night will end. I'll go to bed, hug a pillow.
And your person is going to be the person that you're going to do that together with.
But again, he could ask. I see what she's saying. I would be annoyed. I'd be like, did you, this is probably not the right way to do it psychologically. I'd be like, well, did you ever think to ask?
Great. Great way to create some intimacy.
First you start with a little shame.
Right.
And then you shame them into doing it. And then they ask questions and it feels like there's a gun to their head and you feel relaxed.
Right.
About it,
Now you're thinking about something else, about how stupid the guy is instead of the sadness of the dad. My dad would have known.
No, well, the anger, right? That's,
Yeah.
I mean, way easier than feeling sad is getting annoyed at him for not handling it the right way.
Right. Well, I guess the way to do it is like, can you say like when you say I'm here for you and then change the subject, that makes me feel like you don't care.
Yes. And then ideally he'll be like, so what would be better?
Right.
And maybe if she's listening, she can think, she might not even know what would be better, but it would be helpful for her to think about that so she can tell him.
Yeah. And I think that's a good point. A lot of people don't really actually even know what they want.
Yeah.
They just know they don't.
They know what they
like,
don't want.
This doesn't
Yeah.
feel good,
Yeah.
but like they're not really sure what would feel good.
Everything you're doing is wrong.
Yes. Do
Just
anything other than whatever you're
whatever
doing.
this. That's some good direction though.
I mean, sometimes it's like
It's the only one that we
it just
got.
doesn't-
Let's start somewhere.
This doesn't feel like a connect. You could say like I mean, sometimes someone reacts in a certain way, and you're like, this doesn't make me feel like more connected to you. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's
Yes.
not helpful, but
What if he brought home a homeless man? He was like, "This is your new dad."
That sounds great.
I'm sorry.
honestly, at least that would take some effort. I would be
Right.
like, okay, great.
Right.
He's
It's
putting
great.
it,
He tolerated the smell
Got
in
a
the
little-
elevator.
He's thought about it. You
Got a
know,
little creative.
He's not, he's put, and I think sometimes that's another thing that you want, even because I think that a lot of the times women think that like the best way to communicate or express yourself is verbally, and a lot of men don't communicate that well, but doesn't mean they're not communicating. So like, I think anything that shows that the person cares, even if it's not verbal, even if that's
Yes.
not the way that they express themselves, maybe it's like, they bring you a picture of you and your dad, or they do something like to show you that they bring you home like a little ice cream or a gift because you're having
Something
a bad
they
day.
remembered you said about your dad.
You're
but
having
yeah.
a bad day with grief, and so they bring you something to sort of just like make you feel better. I think that like a lot of men have nonverbal like communication styles of to me it's more like do something to show that you like see that I'm in pain, that you're
Yes,
like
or-
acknowledging that I'm here.
Or honestly, and guys would like this too, not that it's about what he would like to do, but even honestly, like a big, genuine hug
Yeah.
and like a real, like a cheek to cheek kind of loving thing. I think that would be, even if
Agreed.
he said nothing, that
Yeah.
would be like a big, tight hug.
If that
I
was
think.
what she wrote in about, would you be like if she was like, all he does is
giving
just
me a hug.
big, all
Right.
he knows to do is a hug. Would you
Right.
say like, I guess you would
I
say
would feel
like,
better than this.
well, right, but I guess that would turn into, we've tried Hugville Station.
Right.
Let's go to the next.
Let's go to gift station.
You're right. Question. Question.
No, I
Go to
think
Question
I think
Alley,
what-
you
no, she
Well,
probably does want to maybe like what are you thinking about is a great question.
Right.
You know, just like some
Yeah.
curiosity. If she wants verbal, right? Maybe she
Right.
would love a hug and a little token of affection. But I think a curious question, I think, is what she's looking for. What are you thinking about? What are you remembering? You know,
In your
Right.
experience, when does grief take over the relationship and break it apart?
probably when this type of thing
Right now.
goes on too long and she does number 3 or whatever her third option was, which was,
Except that he's not going to be involved in this part of my life.
yeah. And then she just gets angry and annoyed and irritable and takes it out on him. And
So you think this is like a nexus point in this relationship where it's like, if she just decides, okay, 7 months in, this isn't who he is. I'm just going to have a partner that doesn't do well with grief.
Yes.
That's almost not the way to go.
I think, like the kiss of death.
Really? But what if it's like, okay, she has let's say she has a friend who also lost a parent that she talks to about this a lot. And she's like, okay, I have a friend who they kind of get it more than this person. And I maybe connect with them on this thing more than I connect with my boyfriend or my husband here. Like, does that mean it's the kiss of death if the person is like there but doesn't really understand them in the same way, but they have other people to kind of like that they prefer to talk to about it? Is that like that bad?
I mean, I think if it's Father's Day or it's a day where she's upset and he can't like lean into that in any way, I can't see that would be.
And
great.
that friend isn't going to be there forever. Like, like you're the
going?
person. Well, you don't have like the back phone,
right,
to pick up that friend. Like every time he's just not willing to do. I'm with you. Like if I was in a relationship, I couldn't give up. Like I think that would really sit. That would sit in my head.
What about the flip side of it though? Is that like you're not supposed to necessarily be able to get everything from one person?
I get everything, but this is like a deep grief. This I think is different than, when my girlfriends annoy me and you're not someone who gets it. So I can't talk about that with you. I talk about that with my other girlfriends or whatever. But this I think is something you have to be able to.
Well, they need to get to a certain level.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm saying even if let's say they get to the certain, he asks the questions, he does that, but there's still someone else that she's like, I think this person gets it more. This person, I don't know.
And I think that's fine if they can do that. But this level, she's writing in, right?
Yeah, that's true. She's clearly not getting her needs
She's
met.
not happy with it. But I will say, as you're listening, they just scratched the tip of the iceberg. She hasn't even tried to do anything with this, to say, ask me a question, here's what I like, or not even this is bothering me. I'm sure. I have a feeling, and I hope she sends an update. I have a feeling if she just addresses it and gives him a little bit of guidance, because this is a hard one. I have trouble with this.
Yeah.
You don't want, people who lose someone and you're, it's like 3 weeks later and you're like, do I bring it up because I don't want to upset them?
Right.
They're not talking about it. Maybe I don't.
But here's the other thing. Sometimes people want different things in different moments. That's like the other part of it, I think, that makes it also more complicated, where it's like one day maybe she wants to talk about it, and the next day she's kind of like, I would rather not talk about it. I'd rather,
That's where I think that's where it comes in for her to have to realize she doesn't know what she wants. Like you have to acknowledge that too. Like, hey, I want you to ask questions when I'm feeling down. And then the next time he's asking all these questions, and she's like, "Can you shut the fuck up?"
Actually, that was right. No, but I'm saying I think that's the hard part of requesting something is you don't always want the same thing, but
all she wants is for him to show that some interest,
effort.
Yes.
Little bit of interest. That's it. I don't even think it matters if it's the hug or the question or the homeless man or something.
The man pretending to be your dad. Any of that. Yeah.
Dr. Naomi, thank you so much. We needed your expertise.
This was really
We told you this would take about 20 minutes, and it went about 2 hours.
There goes half of our...
Sorry, we apologize. We messed this up.
This was great. This is a once a year at most, and we've never even done this. We record every now and then oversharing.
Was it magic? Do you see it?
It was great, yeah.
Did you have a fun time?
I'm so honored to be a part. This show is really so funny.
Thank you. You're in the family. Not just the family.
Literally and figuratively.
That's right.
Yes.
All right.
We're all one big free ticket family.
That's right. Otherwise, they'd be $500.
Yeah.
There you
go. They should
working my way up.
Sorry, I had to put something in there about that.
Yes.
All right. We'll be back. Naomi, thank you so much.
All right. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Welcome back to the U Up podcast. So great having your sister and doctor and co-host.
Yes.
I mean, so many.
It's been so great having her in town.
It's wonderful. 11-day trip. That's a long.
They got people to see.
New York. Yeah,
they're both
doing
from
the
here.
Tour. Yeah,
they've got, and she's got divorced parents.
Right.
Million siblings.
I guess I don't think of it. Right. For me, it's a one-stop shop. I'm like, one weekend done. Get me out of here.
There's 2 other people in your family.
Right. Too. She's got to do the tour. That's
Well, it's kind of, I think it's better probably than coming in 4 times a year.
No, who would want that? Especially you got 3 kids.
Yeah.
Every time you got to figure out, are they going to come? Do we send them to
5
Croatia?
5 plane tickets.
Okay, speaking of the road, I am on the road, okay? I am in Sacramento. I am going to be in Cleveland. And I am coming all around this great country. Indianapolis, Austin, Raleigh, Rochester, all great. St. Louis, so jaredfree.com. Also, we are talking right now about taping a special.
Yes.
By this time, we might be moving these tickets out there. Tarrytown, Westchester, that's where we're going to tape it.
Tarrytown.
A Betches production.
Great city.
We're back.
Westchester.
Great city, great town. Bring your parents. If those tickets are out.
Yeah, they can drive there. easier place to go.
Right. There we go. Yeah. So, we're taping a special. Me and Betches.
We'll be there.
Very excited.
Yes,
so
excited.
All right. Let's do some awkward interactions.
Let's do some awkward encounter.
Awkward encounter. Okay.
I love this one.
I'm a 46-year-old mom of 2, East Coast transplant in Seattle, divorced 5 years ago. Happily single and dating for the last 3 years. I went to see Sophie Tucker at Tao Beach Day Club.
Sounds fun.
Mom's night out. I was on the dance floor, bopping around on my own, and started kind of chatting with the guy next to me, who was also a little older than most of the crowd, like early 50s. It was loud, so there was only so much chatting you can do. At one point, we took a break, and he bought me a Bud Light. Class all the way.
I mean, that Bud Light at Tao Beach Club is probably like $45.
You are not wrong. Back on the dance. This sounds like how Naomi and Jeff met.
Yeah.
Yeah. Waiting for tonight. Oh! Back on the dance floor in front of the booth, he leaned over and said, "Kiss?" I wasn't particularly interested in him, but I was in Vegas. I was a few beers in, really not at all drunk, and the sun was shining. And I was like, sure, whatever. It's got to be fun for him to hear.
You probably fuck it. Why not?
I mean, listen,
yeah.
Again, it's Vegas, she writes. I leaned in, and as I was kissing him, I had the realization that he was not kissing me back and seemed surprised. The gears in my head were cranking like crazy. Weird flex to ask for a kiss and then be reluctant. I drew back when I realized I misunderstood him. He smiled, and I said, "I was asking if you had kids." I heard kiss. He said kids. It was so embarrassing. I had to take a break and go to the bathroom and text my friends. Embarrassing, but also hilarious.
That's amazing.
That's when you find out you're too old for the club. 2 people hard of hearing.
Asking if you had kids. Right. Also, that's another part of it.
I came out a few minutes later, never saw him again, but I kept thinking, oh my God, what if he's here with his wife or girlfriend and I missed the entire situation completely? I don't think he'd be dancing with you.
You misread.
Misread the entire situation completely. But then I remembered he had bought me a drink. Who knows? I got back to dancing and still laugh about it. Vegas, by the way, is such an easy place to be a 46-year-old single traveler. I got hit on like crazy, but I loved it. And I was there 3 nights and never actually hooked up with anyone, but loved the attention and everyone was ready for a chat. Girls and guys. Polar opposite from Seattle, where I go out a lot alone and no one has ever talked to me.
Surprised she continues to go out alone.
Right. I'll be back there again. Well, what a review of Vegas.
Yeah.
I didn't fuck, but I talked to everybody.
That's so funny. Kiss. I'm surprised he didn't just go with the flow.
Right. He's buying her drinks. They're dancing. It isn't so crazy to think kiss.
Right.
Could have been the thing.
Even if he said kids and then she leaned in for a kiss, I feel like he could have just gone with it.
Well, it is so funny to think.
He probably thought she was like propositioning him. She was so excited that he said something about kids. Kids? Kiss me now.
Right. Oh, I guess we're together forever. Yes. Yeah. I'm 46, finally.
Marriage? What? You said marriage?
It's funny that like no one assumes the thing of a guy that they would assume would be explained by a woman. A lot of women would be like, the way she described Vegas, I didn't hook up. I had a great time. Got talked to by a lot of people. My confidence is up.
Yeah.
Like this guy might have a girlfriend. He's on a trip, talking to a girl, just wanted to dance, wanted to get close enough to the flame.
Do guys do that a lot? They buy a drink and approach a woman?
I think it happens more.
Not looking to like do anything sexual?
Yeah, I think on a bachelor party guys trip, you want to feel part of the group. I'm not putting this out there. I'm not like thinking of anyone specifically in my life that's like married doing this, but like you're out. You're in the group. I guess you want to like feel like you still got it a little bit. You're throwing it, you're in Vegas.
I guess that's not wrong, technically.
Well, now it becomes wrong because people on TikTok.
She made out with him.
Well, right. But on TikTok, you see these things of like, there was a one about the guy on the plane. So the hashtag's called Find the Wife, where they'll like be like, this guy is talking to this woman on the plane. And then they found the wrong woman. He's wearing a ring. They're like, if your husband is Todd.
You can talk to someone. Maybe what was the conversation?
Who knows? But that's also someone else's retelling. Like, it's like.
Right. Well, it's like they could have an open marriage.
You have no idea. Now you've embarrassed them in whatever their situation is. Again, I'm not looking to make the...
Can a man cheat on his wife in peace anymore?
Well, can a guy
go out coming to?
Can a guy talk to a woman and feel like a man for half a minute?
Right. Well,
I would allow this from a woman too.
And I was in a group, and I'm married, but there's a guy buying drinks. I'll take a drink.
And then
I don't turn down a free anything.
We know how your family operates. free shit.
Yeah. I'll take it all.
Well, I mean, to that point, like, if I were the similar video, hey, if your wife is in Vegas right now, she's getting drinks from this guy. If I put out that video, it wouldn't be fair to that woman.
Right.
In the same way, like, if your husband's in Vegas right now, he's talking to these women and they're dancing from 6 inches apart, I'd be like, all right, he's out. He's out of the night. I don't know if that really makes him a bad husband, dad, father, whatever it is, you know? So
that's true. I mean, probably a lot of them are bad husband, father, whatever.
You don't know.
But some of them maybe aren't.
Let them fuck up on their own.
Or some people, you know, it's like, again, like, is this guy cheating? If let's say he did have a girlfriend, he buys someone a drink, he's talking to them. Is he cheating?
And she kisses him when she thinks she saw kids.
I mean, that's
what does he do? Well, this is actually a good scenario to bring up.
If he kisses her,
in this scenario, he has a girlfriend at home.
He should say, I'm sorry. I know it probably. I actually am in a relationship.
Well, she said he didn't return the kiss. She's like, she's angry. In this scenario, it's actually like an interesting.
I think she's more embarrassed than angry.
For sure, whatever she is.
Yeah.
I'm thinking from his end, does he go back? Do you go back and tell hey, funny thing happened? Like, is it even worth reporting back? I would not. I'm not saying I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
I would be like, happened.
Well, who's your wife?
How annoying is she?
How understanding.
I don't think anyone's that understanding.
Right, yeah.
Why were you dancing with them in the first place to be in the position to have that happen?
Yeah, you'd be like, annoying. Yeah.
I'd be like,
this is
everyone else was
some
rubbing.
guys are like, I didn't mean to sleep with them. That's a little bit less of a thing.
Different story.
I didn't mean for this person to kiss me. That's obviously very different.
But why were you even buying them a drink?
Right.
With our money, joint credit card?
I mean, yeah, that would be annoying.
Right.
Yeah.
So I
wouldn't love it.
A $45 Bud Light?
On this bitch?
Right.
Yeah.
But then the other side, if my wife came back and was like, this guy was buying us drinks.
He asked me if I had kids.
And I thought
I asked him if he had kids.
And he kissed me.
Tried to kiss me. I don't think that would
I
would tell Mike that story.
I don't know why from that end it doesn't seem as
because it's I think when it's a group it feels I think it's a little weird to go one-on-one and ask a woman. I think if you're socializing in a group, it does feel less like you're putting yourself in a scandalous situation or a situation. Whereas one-on-one,
I think the main difference is buying the drink. When you are given the drink, it's different than buying the drink.
Right.
Like, I think that's as weirdly is the difference.
I mean, would you feel weird if your wife bought a drink for a man?
Yes. Like, that's the big right. I'm trying to think what's the point of like where I differentiate buying that's like where I go.
Even in a group?
I'm buying everyone drinks. And now I'm dancing with one of the people in the group I bought drinks for.
Right.
It would feel like I plotted this.
Yeah.
What did you think? From drink to dance.
That's true.
This is a 1+1 scenario, right? Then kids kiss.
Yeah. I'm surprised the guy wasn't, I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like that's what I'm saying. If he's going out of his way to talk to a woman, buy her a drink, it seems like that's the kind of guy who would kiss someone even if he was in a relationship.
Listen, I'm as shocked as she is. I think it's weird that he said, maybe he did say kiss and he didn't like how it went.
It was
and there was an excuse. I said kids.
I don't know. This is weird, very awkward, very funny. Have you ever like misheard someone? And
I mean, I'm sure I have. I mean, absolutely. I'm trying to think of a scenario. Have you?
Mike and I actually on our first date, he thought I was saying something I wasn't saying, and it kind of led to like a make out in that way. Where he was like he was sitting weirdly. It was like one of those weird bars where like I'm like sitting like higher than him, and he's sitting like weirdly like on a stool like on the other side. It was like not a great sitting situation.
Right. And this is early on.
Yeah, this is the first date.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I said, and then like he moved to like sit like next like higher up, and I was like, oh, like I was waiting for you to sit there. Like that was kind of weird. I think he thought I meant like I was waiting for you to like come closer to me.
Oh.
And he like made a move. But like,
Did it
I didn't
work
really
out?
mean that. I mean, I was into it, so
Right.
it worked out. But like, that wasn't what I was saying. I wasn't like, oh, like I was waiting for you to come sit next to me.
Right.
I meant like I was
think I
waiting.
remember you telling me about this.
Yeah, it was kind of. I mean, I don't remember the complete specifics, but it was something where I was like, oh, like now you're sitting like eye level with me. You're not like. I'm not like looking down
Right.
at you.
And he thought you were like, scooch in.
Right. I thought it was like, oh, I've been waiting for you to like sit
Finally.
right next to me or something.
Yeah, that's one of those like Back to the Future moments, you know, where it's like sliding doors. Like,
Yeah.
what if he heard you correctly? Would you be?
I don't know because
You know
like
what I
I
mean?
don't think he would necessarily have like made like a move on the first date.
This is what. I can understand why you wouldn't. You know,
Right.
you go first
Yeah.
date. This kind of maybe pushed
Him into a role that he wasn't necessary. But I was like,
and
that
you were
was
like, great.
yeah.
Let's do another
That's
email.
very funny. Hey J&J, all the feathers from a big fan. I'll jump right in. I have a tricky scenario coming up that I could use your advice on. My boyfriend and I are both 27. We have been dating for 2 years and living together for 1 year. I have no doubt that he is who I'm going to spend my life with. I have never felt happier, safer, or more loved. Though perfect in every other way,
Here we go.
he can be jealous. Normally, I find it hot in a protective but not overbearing type of way. But when it comes to exes, he wants to know nothing about them. No names, no stories, nothing.
La 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 la. No, I said Jonathan, my cousin. Oh, I thought you meant Jonathan, your second ex.
Your middle school boyfriend.
Yeah.
He has told me he doesn't want to think about me having been intimate with anyone else, which I have understood and respected until now. Although I'm sure he could unpack that with a therapist, but good luck convincing a man to go to therapy to talk about their ex and feelings. Okay.
Okay, Carrie.
And then I got to thinking.
Right.
A few months ago, I was asked to
Good luck with that one.
A few months ago, I was asked to be a bridesmaid in my hometown gay best friend's wedding. My friend is doing a bridal party where he and his fiance will each have a few important people on each of their sides. My friend told me yesterday that my high school ex will also be in his bridal party. For some context, my high school ex and I dated for 3 years, from ages 15 to 18. We broke up before college, but we were each other's first everything. I don't, however, harbor any type of feelings, negative or otherwise, towards him. We were young, he's engaged, and I'm happily dating my boyfriend. Both of our partners will be in attendance at the wedding as well. My problem is that I'm struggling as to whether or not to warn my boyfriend that my ex will be there and that they will likely meet. My question is this: do I err on the side of transparency and tell them that my high school ex will be there and that they will likely meet because we are both in the bridal party, or do I not even bring it up so that I don't cause him unnecessary stress and anxiety? Sincerely, a high school not-so-sweetheart. This guy sounds crazy.
I'm annoyed for her. Like, this is annoying. It's annoying. She's been pushed into this position of like this rule he has. This is why like rules suck in relationships.
Yeah, I mean, there's a thin line between like rules and like dating someone who's like you have to walk on eggshells around,
Right?
And kind of scary.
Totally agree. Thin line is the best way to put it, because like it starts at like, can you not bring up the ex? It's like annoying me,
right?
And then no ex shall be heard in this house.
It's also like a little immature.
Very immature. Like, dude, like it's your problem, not my problem. I have a history.
Yeah.
You have a history. I can deal with it. And I trust you. This is where he actually doesn't trust her.
Right.
He's
freaking out that much.
Right. I trust you to talk about an ex in a way that isn't going to make me feel bad about myself.
Or disrespected.
Right. Yeah. And that's the trust in every relationship. If I was talking about my ex, it goes both ways too. If I was talking about my ex and I was like, yeah, no, we really connected, but it ended because maybe timing or something like that, and I was told I was being disrespectful for that.
Yeah,
I'd be like a little bit annoyed at that too.
Right.
So it's like it goes both ways. Like if I was talking about ex, the best sex of my life. Oh, I would come and then I'd come again. Ugh,
I mean,
that's
you're
good.
The nuance of it.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like one is obviously like the person's the monster talking about it.
Right.
And the other one is like the person has no maturity. I think that jealousy is like, again, like you said, it's very immature to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
I think a little bit of it is kind of hot. Like, I agree with her in that way. I think a lot of women like it a little bit. Like, oh, he cares. But I think not being able to mention someone you dated, I don't know. She doesn't say how old she is, but I would imagine like 10 years ago.
15 to 18, your high school boyfriend.
Weird.
Right. And
I would tell him, and then I would like use that as a way to like judge his response and potentially this relationship.
Well, the way that you have stifled the free
gag
speech, gag order, yes. The free speech in this relationship has been stifled. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be walking on eggshells on any topic. Like, I want to be able to like talk about it, and we're going to mess up, and we're having our feelings are at play, and maybe I'll mess up. And the whole point of a relationship is that when I mess up, I can apologize and we talk it out.
Right.
That's what gets us to know each other.
Exactly. And you could be like a little jealous without that being my problem. It's like, fine, I could tell you my high school ex-boyfriend's going to be in this wedding party. And in your head, you could be a little jealous. You can't control that. That's fine. It's not my problem.
Right. And I would also like want to be in on that information.
Yeah, I think it would be crazy not to tell him.
Right. Because here's the alternative. You don't tell him, and then everyone else is not fucked up like your significant other.
Makes a reference to it.
Right. In the way anyone would. Remember when they dated? And now the whole night is ruined at this wedding?
Now he really doesn't trust you.
Right. The other way is worse than getting ahead of it.
Right. And again, if he like cannot bear for you to be in a room with someone that you dated 10 years ago, there's something bigger.
But good luck getting him to go to therapy. No, that means
bigger
he
issue
needs
in this
fucking therapy.
Yeah. There's a bigger issue here. So
yeah.
I would definitely mention it. And if he freaks out, I think this is a very important time to have this conversation because he might have like an anger problem.
Right. Yeah. I just don't know how you live the rest of your life, because here's the other thing. Around every corner is a variable. You don't know what's coming. So you're going to live in fear that like around the corner, an ex is going to come and now your night's ruined.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's to me, it shows it's a bigger sign than just like she's jealous or he doesn't like to hear about anyone I used to date. It's like, he's not thinking about you as a person.
Right.
You're a person with a history, with a past. Like to say, I never want to hear anything about anyone. That's like saying I want to pretend that you're a totally different person who's had no other experiences besides me.
This ex-boyfriend from high school is the reason you know how to tongue his balls.
Tell him that. That's going to make him feel a lot better. That's all he needs to hear to let it go.
Like, I don't know, this idea, I got to date a virgin. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
You loser. No, you don't want that. You want to date someone who's got, has taste.
Seen things.
Is the reason that they've chosen you to be with is because of all the troubles and tribulations they went through in the past, and good and bad.
All the bad sex that they've had.
Right. Now they get your mediocre cock.
I think it's great.
And think it's okay.
There you go.
Let's play some games. UUP@Betches.com. Keep sending in red flag or deal breaker. We got some specific red flag or deal breakers today.
Quite specific.
J&J. Here's the backstory on this one. A few years ago, I was hanging out with a guy for a summer fling.
Love it.
Knew for sure that it wasn't the match for me, but I needed a place to stay as I was in between apartments, and he let me crash his place all the time. We realized at one point that we had vacation dates in the fall that matched up, and we had each been planning to do a solo trip to Italy. So why not go together? By the time the trip rolled around, I felt like we couldn't stand each other, but we put on our big boy and big girl pants, smiled, and made the most of it, and the trip was ... fine. I don't know if you have to put on your big boy pants to do this. You could have just said,
not gone.
This isn't working out.
This doesn't seem like this is going to be a fun trip.
Right. You don't share a mortgage and 3 kids.
Yes.
Once we got back to New York City, though, we never saw each other again.
Ever again.
Well, good time in Rome. Gotta go. No harm, no foul. I wish him well, and we've sent a friendly text to one another every couple years or so. Recently, I saw on his Instagram that he was in Italy again on what looked like a very similar trip to what we did. Rome, Vatican, wine country, Florence, etc. Nothing super original, basically the same trip everyone does. But this time there was a photo of a girl with a giant ring on her hand. He clearly proposed to her on the trip. I'm so curious, did this woman, his future wife, know the whole time that as they walked through the Sistine Chapel together that he had already been there romantically with another woman and was just recreating the same experience? Based on the way neither of us made much of an effort to keep up after our trip a few years ago, I think it's safe to say the breakup, if you can call it that, was mutual. And neither of us left much of an impact on each other's lives. So I can completely understand if he doesn't associate vacationing in Italy with our time together, and that's totally fair. And for all I know, his fiance might not know know that he went there with me before and might be totally cool with it all. But I don't know that every woman would feel the same about this. So I'm curious. What do you think? Jared, would you ever propose to a woman on a trip in the same location with the same itinerary that she had taken with the past former partner? Jordana, how would you feel about this on the receiving end? To me, I think it's not a deal breaker, but probably just a red flag signaling a lack of originality on his behalf. But for all I know, maybe his fiance really just wanted to go to Italy with him, and if he said sure, then good for them. If I sound like I'm being super nice about it, I don't think she is.
If I sound like I am a sweetheart.
You've written 1,000 words about someone else getting engaged and how it's a mutual breakup that it doesn't seem so mutual. But okay. It's because I think he listens to the U Up podcast. In which case, hey, congrats. Okay. Hope you two had a blast in Italy. I could read this angrily, right? Yeah. Hope you had a blast in Italy. Wishing you two all the best. Like, doesn't she sound angry?
Doesn't sound like she means that.
No, and if he doesn't listen, then my real opinion is pick somewhere else. She wrote this exactly how I'm reading this. Give yourself and your future wife a clean slate to create totally new memories of a place together. But also congrats. Anyway, can't wait to hear what you think. Signed, the forgotten betch of the Roman Empire. She sounds a little bit sensy to what happened here today.
Yeah, to me, it would be weirder if he didn't propose on the trip because of that other trip. It would mean it meant a lot more to him than
that the other trip was better than this one?
Yeah, to me, or like meant something, or was like more special. Like the fact he's kind of like he was there last time on a trip he didn't really enjoy.
Right, tested it out.
Right, and now he's like, oh, I'm going with someone I really love, and she wants to go to this beautiful place, and I'm gonna propose to her. We're going on this trip. She wanted to go to Italy. Why wouldn't I propose?
Right.
This trip is way better than the last time I went on this trip.
Right. Isn't it about the company you keep?
Yeah.
You know, like
I don't think it's weird.
I don't think it's weird. It's also...
You can't own Italy.
Right. She literally says in the beginning of her email, it's the trip anyone would take. Where else is he supposed to fucking go?
Exactly. It's not like he went to some random fucking town in Italy that no one goes to.
That only you two share.
Yeah, that would be a little weird.
Right. If he proposed on the bed that you two fucked on last time you were in, Positano, that'd be weird.
That would be weird, yeah.
Yeah, this is
it's like whole country.
Right. He did a basic... As she said it. We're not even the ones saying it. Mm-hmm. She wrote it that way. I don't know. I think she's got some things to get over.
Like to me, if it was like I'm going to Italy with my boyfriend, and then he's like, I was going to propose, but I didn't propose because I had gone there like with a different girl 4 years ago, I'd be like, I don't care.
Right. Like, there's also a whole other human, and she says, oh, maybe she wanted to go to Italy. Yeah, that's a very big possibility.
Yes.
Like
this vacation spot she found, in the depths corners from travel itineraries.
Right. It feels like, to me, she's like, I wasted my trip to Italy with some guy who didn't really care that much about it.
Right. I guess I could see why she might take it personally.
I guess, right. I wouldn't have put on my big boy pants or big girl pants and just fought through a vacation that I already planned to do alone.
Yeah. If the trip was like amazing, I think it would be weirder. I think the fact that it was a bad trip to me makes more sense that he was like, it was
Let's
not
do this
that
the right way now.
It was not that exciting or memorable for him.
Right.
And he was probably like, I'm going to make it exciting and memorable this time.
Right. Yeah, like the comeback story. Me going to Cannes this year.
Right.
Like it was like, okay, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
And have a better time and see what I did wrong. The last I went with people. You guys were there. So, I don't really fault him for going to Italy too. I mean,
and do you know what I'm saying? Like if he was like he couldn't do it because of that trip, I would be worried that it meant more to him. Like if a guy like if you wanted to go to a certain restaurant, if I wanted to go to a certain restaurant with Mike and he was like, we can't go there. Like I went there with my ex. I'd be like, okay, the fact that you won't go there because you were there with someone else means
why does it mean so much to you?
You're kind of hung up on this place or that relationship or whatever it was.
Right. And why are you still like, and you don't want if he didn't want to post a picture from there, why are you afraid of someone seeing us?
Yeah. To me, it shows that he doesn't give a shit about the last experience.
He's actually moved on. Yeah. Which, I think she's got to do as well. Let's do another.
Let's do it. All right. So I have a red flag or deal breaker. I've been seeing this guy for a couple months. For context, I'm a 31-year-old female and he is 32 male. We get along very well. There's plenty of chemistry, yet it feels easy. The sex has been fire, but then something happened a couple of days ago that made me second guess. We were mid-afternoon delight and he was having me move positions when he noticed blood and asked if I was on my period. I said, well, I just ended it yesterday. You must have made me bleed again.
With that big cock of yours.
Trying to say in the moment and insinuate that he's big.
Oh.
However, she read your mind.
Read my mind, yeah.
However, he looked alarmed and asked what we should do. And I somewhat laughed it off and said, I don't know, ignore it? So he told me to come back to where I was instead of changing positions. And we kept going for a minute until he stopped me. I was on top and was like, it's kind of a lot. I said, okay. And I was thinking he just wanted me to go get a towel. But then he said, yeah, can I use your shower? I was confused, but said yes. And then he got up into my shower where he proceeded to wash just that area and asked me if I didn't want a shower. I said, no, I'll just wipe down a bit. To which he said, I guess you know how to handle it. Okay.
Hey, this guy's taking every wrong move. Yeah.
At this point, I'm feeling
He just washed off is just the area. Like, that's not how guys shower.
This guy is clearly a little queasy.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm feeling awkward and super horny as I had gotten pretty close before we stopped and he seemed pretty freaked out by the whole thing. I asked him, had he never had sex with a girl on her period before? To which he said no. Surprised to me because he was in a relationship for 8 years in his 20s and that the blood freaked him out. Now, let me say I'm not looking for a Saltburn situation, although to be honest, I did think that scene was oddly hot. But I'm also not used to someone thinking that my period is so gross that they won't have sex while I'm on it. Plus, when I was agitated from not getting off and getting so close, he just got dressed.
This guy.
So I have to know what you all think. Red flag or deal breaker? He thinks periods are gross and won't have sex when you're dealing with the menses. Thanks for the advice and laughs every week. It has helped me see dating and guys' intentions more clearly. I appreciate you both. Best, a salty bitch.
What do you think?
My issue isn't that he's not into period sex. I think that's like fine. I think people can have preferences and just like be like, I think blood makes a lot of people uncomfortable.
Okay.
I think that being said,
Right.
it's fine. I think it's like a little shamey the way that he reacted to it.
Right.
I think it's one thing to be like, that's not really like, for some reason that just kind of takes me out of the mood. I don't really like it. That's fine. We can all have a sexual preference or something that it doesn't feel like their thing.
Right.
But I think the way that he did it was kind of like insulting and felt like
He took no ownership of this being a him problem. He
Right.
made it a her.
Yes,
he
he
made
should have
her
made it a
once a
him
month her problem.
Yes.
Like, I guess you know how to handle that. Like that's
right. I guess you know what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all.
Guess you do this all the time, ho.
Right. I think this is like crazy. Like
Right.
I think to even care about period stuff. I don't care. I look like I drank a Kool-Aid after I'm done with that shit.
Yeah, and
don't
I
give a
think
fuck.
I think most people are like that, and I think that
Yeah.
I think that it's okay if someone is not into it.
Yeah, I think that's a very nice, empathetic way to go.
I'm not like you're a monster if you don't want to have sex with someone on their period.
I guess what would he say then?
I know. I compliment sandwich. Think you're so hot. I love having sex with you. I get very weird. I get very like nauseous around blood. I get very. It just kind of like takes me out of the whole mood. It's absolutely nothing to do with you. It's like totally a me thing. It just for some reason it like takes me out of everything.
Right. Oh,
Fine.
Yeah.
I think if a woman said that to you about anything sexual,
But my penis? No. No, I would
be
like,
like, okay,
okay,
that's
get it.
fine.
We'll do it another time.
Yeah.
I would
But
still
if a woman
feel.
said I don't want to have sex, I don't like having sex on my period. I don't like there being blood everywhere. It makes me uncomfortable.
Of course.
Would you think she was Would you think she was a monster?
No, I would think. Well, I guess my head would go in the other direction. I'd be like, I guess she's a little bit proper, a little bit
Brutish.
Prudish,
Sure.
right? I would correlate that to prude, which probably isn't fair. In the same way, I could see how it's.
I think I would correlate it more to male prudeness.
Right.
Sure.
Maybe that's not fair, but
Maybe that's what I'm saying. That's
what it
and that
is.
maybe again, it wouldn't be a match for you.
Right.
Maybe, which is fine.
The way he went about it, total deal breaker.
I agree. I think
yeah.
that's the issue. Is
That's
that
the
he's
issue.
like made it into like she's weird.
Right. It's like, I guess like the
Grow
male equivalent. I'm trying to think of like what is the thing that you can't really control that like you get to see how they react is like coming quickly.
Right.
Right? Like if I was to come quickly and someone was like the most
Do you want
mad,
a towel?
Right.
Do you want a shower?
I guess you know how to handle that. I would be so infuriated. I'd be like,
that's the way you handle it.
And it wouldn't help me for the next time. That's the thing. Like this is what he's doing is really backwards.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't help sex. It doesn't help you guys get closer. It actually makes you guys
She's
farther
like immature.
apart. Yeah.
I think too.
Deal
But,
breaker.
Yeah.
Let's do one more. You ready?
Let's do one more.
Relatively new listener to the pod, and J-Train too, but you guys constantly have me laughing. Well, thank you. Let me know what you think about this recent date experience I had. I was on a second date with a seemingly normal guy. We started talking about what we like to cook, and he said he has weird eating habits. I said, what does that mean? And he said he eats a lot of red meat, specifically ground beef. I asked him if that included breakfast, and he said yes. Most days he eats scrambled eggs with ground beef. All right, kind of weird, but not that big a deal. When I asked what he usually ate for lunch and dinner, he said he'll just usually mix whatever he has around the food, whatever he has around he likes the most with ground beef. Like, like sweet potatoes, okay, or avocado. Getting weirder. I don't think that's that weird. Then he said that recently he's been eating a lot of ground beef and bananas.
That one's kind of weird.
What is he, a minion? I asked a lot of follow-up questions, like how he prepares this. He cuts the bananas on top of the sautéed beef. And why? Because I like both ground beef and bananas, so I figured, why not? He also went on to tell me that he used to work in an office, and instead of having a PB&J sandwich, he would do a PB and grape sandwich. Yes, he would cut up grapes and put that inside a peanut butter sandwich, because in his eyes, it's basically the same thing as grape jelly. I would disagree. After the date, I naturally called a lot of my friends to relay the story, and everyone agreed this is a low-key psycho move. I don't know if I agree with that either. Didn't end up going out with him again, but have to know what you guys think. Is this a red flag or deal breaker? Where is the beef? What do you think?
I mean, as someone who dates someone or is married to someone who eats like a 5-year-old, I guess I can't really judge.
Although
this is like a little bit weirder because it's weird like food combinations.
Right. It's weird food texture combinations too. That's the problem. Like banana and steak, there's mango salsa.
Yeah, maybe he's innovative. So maybe that'll be in a few years.
Right. Like I don't know if that's really like as crazy as it sounds.
Yeah.
You know, if you were like, I'm putting fruit in salsa, I'd be like, get the fuck out of my face. And now I've had mango salsa and I go, it's pretty damn good. You have that Costco, the big bin in the summertime. It's pretty good.
Yeah, well,
maybe this guy's a,
innovator.
Right. Yeah.
I think this is fine to me as long as he's capable of eating normal things like in public places.
Right.
I think that would if he like won't eat at a restaurant that won't serve him up ground beef and bananas.
Can you mash up the steak and put it with the creme brulee?
Right. Or if he's ordering that, he's trying to order that in public.
Right.
I'd be like, if he's eating, you eat whatever weird shit you want to eat in the privacy of your own home.
Listen, I understand weird food schedules to make your mind feel right. Like food is like a big part. So I understand the idea of like, I just have ground beef with everything because I know how to measure it. I know how much it makes me full without feeling uncomfortable.
Maybe it's a health thing.
Right.
Like
getting some protein in. Like a lot of like my regular meals are not meals I would eat out, just like you said.
Same.
So,
I have some weird meals that, Mike thinks are kind of gross.
Right. But I also like to call someone low-key psycho for this.
Yeah.
I think it's okay to call them weird. I think this is where like languaging is like getting out of hand with us, like with us as a culture.
Yeah,
like,
this isn't psycho.
Right. For your friend, like you're not going to go out with them.
The ground meat is like a human.
Right. I mean, to cut up grapes and put it in a PB&J, like it's just.
I could see it.
I could see it. I also just wouldn't like the chew.
Do you have any weird food combinations?
What are my weird food combinations? When I'm drunk, I will eat everything in one meal. It doesn't matter what it is. What is yours?
I really like jalapenos and tuna.
I don't think that's that weird.
Okay, good.
I think that's, to me, I'm not a tuna guy. As
texture,
you know, I don't like tuna.
I know that you don't like tuna.
I don't want to. Right. I'm not a big tuna guy. Even the word tuna bothers me. I can't believe I've said it this many times.
Tuna.
Chicken salad sometimes has
that
type of thing in it. Like has like an onion.
Also.
Egg salad will have like crunchy cucumber in it.
Yeah,
I like that.
Little texture.
Yeah, I like a little texture. So that wouldn't be weird to me.
Yeah.
So.
What if she ate What if she ate pasta with ketchup?
My dad does that.
Out.
Really?
Out? No.
My dad. I
No,
see
I'm
still
saying
my
like
dad.
out, like she not
out?
out as in like in or out, like
My dad
at a
doesn't.
restaurant.
I can't really.
He would do that at a restaurant.
I think it's disgusting. I've always thought it was weird.
like he'll do that if you're out to dinner.
I've never seen him do it out for dinner, but he's done it enough in my life that I'm
Wow.
like, I've always thought
Ketchup in the pasta.
Ketchup in the pasta. He used to do it at dinner, and it was like kind of for my grandmother a little bit
When I was a kid, I used to have macaroni and cheese and ketchup.
different. I can
I
understand.
haven't
it.
as an adult, but I guess it probably would taste pretty good.
Yeah, some people love ketchup, like to the point where like you're like, I can't believe you put it on everything.
I do like ketchup a lot, but I don't put it on everything.
I'm a ketchup, cold ketchup with hot fries.
That's
Great.
it.
That's really it for me.
I'm more of a mayo with fries.
Yeah. If I'm in Europe.
My favorite condiment might be mayo.
Mayo gets a lot of shit.
It's very divisive.
It's very divisive. I think it's like mayo takes a turkey sandwich and changes it from like turkey sandwich to like, why aren't I eating more turkey sandwiches on a regular basis? That's how good mayo is.
Really good.
It's so good. But
I love mayo.
yeah, justice
If
for
anyone's
mayo.
listening, if any mayo companies are listening, I love
Hillman,
mayo.
shout out.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Well, we'll be back.
we solved dating again and mayonnaise.
Did it. Bye. The U Up podcast is produced by Belle Roman and Candice Maniga. Editing by Belle Roman. Social media by Candice Maniga. Be sure to follow at u.up.podcast on Instagram and send us your emails to uup@betches.com.